Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, so you know what that means? It means it's a league change, and the league coming up for, that is like 1500 or under, aka Great League eligible, is going to be the Retro Cup, which the only rules for Retro Cup is there's no Dark types, no Steel types, and no Fairy type Pokemon allowed. So that sort of trio of Rock, Paper, Scissors is going to be taken out. Unlucky for us, no Dark types here, but it usually means something like fighting types are going to be a little stronger. Even though it's weird because if you take out the Fairymons, there's really not a lot of Psychic Mon in the Cup, or in Open Great League, I should say, and then there's definitely even less Flying types. So that's why Fighters are going to be even more prevalent once Fairy's taken out, even though two things Fighting is strong against is also getting taken out. So let's go ahead and get into the top 8 teams here. So team number 1 here is going to be, I guess I should say a little bit about what the meta is going to be. So let me go over here. The meta is going to basically be, well, let's go over the top 10 Mon on PvPoke. It's going to be Clodsire, Licky, Oranguru, Primeape, Feraligatr, Shadow and Non-Shadow, Dunsparce, Artibax, Driftblim, Jumpluff, Cresselia, Hakamo-O. So I threw a few other ones on there too, but those are basically going to be the Mon that you see a lot of in this cup. I don't think much outside of that. Aurorus is one of the ones you might see out of that, but it's basically a Clodsire cup. Steel is actually decent against Clodsire. Obviously, Clodsire is very good against Fairy, but none of those. Also, you'll notice since there are no Fairy, Stone Edge is definitely the way to go in this cup. I realize using TMs is going to be kind of tough. You don't want to use TMs every time a cup changes. I get that, but Sledge Bomb just not going to be as good as Stone Edge in this cup. Alright, so the first team here, Clodsire with Jumpluff and then Primeape. Primeape's going to be your safe swap here. Actually, Primeape's a really great safe swap in this cup just because once you get that energy advantage, you're going to be able to get to that Rage Fist, and you're going to be pumping up those Karate Chop damage, basically. And you always have the ability to close combat, which is going to deal super effective against a lot of the cup in general, but even when it's not doing super effective, it's still just going to be a huge damage move, since Primeape is very attack-weighted Pokemon. Now, one of the few flyers in this cup, definitely a reason why we're bringing it in here, is Jumpluff. I will showcase that. I will say the Fairy Wind, Aerial Ace, Energy Ball moveset is best, but I still like, I like Acrobatics a lot. But again, I will note that these are probably going to be best. And I will say Shadow Jumpluff is going to be probably what you want to be using more than not. And then Shadow Primeape also probably what you want to be using more than not. But I did put the non-shadows here, and I put them for the rest of them as well, just because it is easier to get those, obviously, so it's fine to use it as well. But again, I prefer the shadows in both of those slots if able. Now, the things that are going to be core breakers to this team, and you can see we've kind of changed up the format a little bit. I figured I didn't need all the writing on there because I would be saying it anyways, but we'll just leave it like this. Let me know in the comments below if you like this one better, you like the other one better. It is what it is. Aurorus. So, going to be having a lot of play against... I noticed I just put Mudshot for this Clodsire, but actually going to be using Poison Sting. So definitely something to think about. I don't know, this was just an old one because I haven't had Stone Edge in a while. Alright, Aurorus is going to be really good against Clodsire. Ice, obviously super effective against Ground, and then obviously going to be double super effective against Jumpluff, so really bad into Jumpluff. So, going to be ABA weak to Aurorus, which you will see a decent amount of, not infinite, but some amount. And then Cresselia, which is going to be, it's kind of like neutrally good into Clodsire and Jumpluff, but it's really super effective, obviously, against Primeape, where it could one-shot it with the Moonblast. Alright, team number 2 here. It's going to be Aurorus, Shadow Glade, which I really prefer, which is why I have it here as Shadow instead of as both. And then Clodsire, again, Clodsire, Poison Sting, just, it's going to be wrong in these graphics. These are like whole page graphics, so I can't really like change them out right here. Yeah, Aurora is going to be very good in this cup. It's very fast to get to its move, Weather Ball. So you get there in 5 and 4, so you're really fast to get to those. It's really decent into the cup as well. Being really good against the number 1 Pokemon in the cup, Clodsire, gives it a lot of room to play with. And a similar type of thing for the and I won't go over Clodsire because it is the number 1 cup, number 1 mon in the cup, so Clodsire will be your safe swap. But Gallade is really interesting because it gets to its moves so fast. It actually outpaces something like Primeape, which is going to be here for speed. It also outpaces Feraligatr. Able to throw super effective into Feraligatr as well, which will be one of those safe swaps in this cup as well. Leaf Blade also super effective against something like Aurorus, being a rock type. Now, things Gallade really has to look out for is like Oranguru, which is why I have Oranguru on the top of the list here as a core breaker, because it does have Confusion, which is going to be neutral against it, but Gallade is just very squishy, so you know you can get through that pretty easily. It has Trailblaze, which is going to be super effective against Aurorus, and then Confusion is super effective against Clodsire. This is more of an even matchup in the Clodsire, but the whole point is you could actually just use shields to get through Clodsire, then just throw back-to-back moves over that over the course of this match, and Trailblaze giving Confusion that boost in damage is quite a lot because Confusion is just a hard-hitting move. Feraligatr also really tough into this team because while you are outpacing on Gallade, you can still throw. Let's say I safe swap into Feraligatr and you're slow to swap Gallade in after 2 turns. They're going to get to the Hydro Cannon first, so they're going to get a shield no matter what. Plus Shadow Claw is hitting for super effective here against the Gallade, and Gallade is not very. It is very fragile, so it can definitely get hurt by that. Hydro Cannon also super effective against both the front and back lines of Aurorus and Clodsire. So if you're seeing a ton of Feraligatr, this might not be the team for you. Yeah, it might be really tough into Feraligatr. All right. We mentioned Oranguru quite a few times, so let's go ahead and go over an Oranguru team here. If I had an Oranguru, this is the team I would be using, I think. Catching you here in the middle of the video, definitely subscribe if you haven't. Just take a second, hit it. All right, back to the video. Oranguru is just going to be very neutrally good against a lot of things in this cup, which means that it's going to, I think its usage will kind of be off the charts because of that. If you can be neutral into everything and be good against a couple things, that's usually where you want to be to climb. We have a backline here with Clodsire again as the safe swap. Again, Poison Sting instead of Mudshot there for the fast attack. And then we have a new Pokemon on this list, Drifblim. I prefer the Shadow, but PvPoke does say that the non-Shadow is better. That could be some simulation bias, but I prefer the Shadow, and I think I've seen the Shadow a lot more in Open Great League. So we'll see at the end of the day if the Shadow or non-Shadow is best. Now, something to look out for in this team is Oranguru for the same reasons. Neutral against the lead, has super effective Confusion for the Clodsire, and can also ramp up with that Trailblaze. And then against Drifblim has access to Brutal Swing, and not only that, you are you are single resisting the Ghost type moves because Oranguru is a normal type, which double resist Ghost, but it is also a Psychic type, which is going to take super effective from the Ghost. So going to be one-time resisted at the end of the day. So no real way to get hit by this Shadow Ball very hard. So resisting that is very good. All right, team number 4 here, and this is a very kind of basic type of team. Dunsparce lead, which is going to be again neutral against a lot of the cup as well. A lot of those normal types are going to be neutral against a lot of the cup, but this one has no psychic subtyping like the Oranguru, so going to have a little bit of weakness to, or have a lot of weakness rather to fighting, specifically Primeape. But that's why we have a backline of Feraligatr and Cresselia. Cresselia is just going to be very good against Primeape in general, being a pure psychic type, and then Feraligatr going to pace similarly, but going to do a lot of damage with the Hydro Cannon. Whereas you can take one Rage Fist on Feraligatr, they cannot take one Hydro Cannon on their Primeape if it's Shadow. A new mon that this team's also going to be weak to is going to be Serperior. Serperior is decent in this cup. It has some weaknesses in general, though. Jumpluff is going to be scary. Clodsire is not the best, but you will see some Serperior in this cup, as it does hard counter something like Licky Licky, I guess. But more importantly, Dunsparce gets super hard countered by Serperior, so people will be using it. All right, another Dunsparce team. Our backline is going to also contain Drifloon again, but this one also has access to Shadow Dragonite, which I think is going to be used a lot in this cup. Now, PvPoke doesn't list Shadow Dragonite too far up the list. In fact, it really prefers something like Hakamo-O, which I do have in the core breakers there, but I think Shadow Dragonite is going to be on a lot of teams just because it is going to be able to like 2 shield through things or 1 shield through things and throw moves. It's going to be neutrally good against a lot of the cup, which also means it's going to be neutrally bad against a lot of the cup. So if people have their shields available, they're going to be able to get through your Dragonite. But the whole point is either take shields with Dragonite or Drifblim and then try to carry with the other one. And either one of these can be used as a safe swap, or we can just go safe lead route with Dunsparce. But you see, this backline's a little stronger against Primeape, but it has a little bit of weaknesses. Again, to other dragon types, I actually think something like Flygon could be some spice in this cup. I don't see it on the list for PvPoke as well, but these are the types of metas where Flygon does usually show up. So I do think we will see a little bit of Flygon here. And it is very good against Clodsire as well. So when you're good against... So it's good against Clodsire. It's decent against Feraligatr, but it still has some problems. Obviously, water is going to be neutral against it because it does have that ground subtyping. But it's still decent against that because it is Dragon at the end of the day. You could shield through it, and it's very good against Clodsire. All right, another Dunsparce team. This is going to be with double Confusion in the backline. We've already kind of talked about Dunsparce and Oranguru. And you can go as a third mon here, Girafarig. A Shadow is preferred again on this one. In the limited cups that Girafarig's been a part of, it's been very good. It's kind of like, it just kind of does a lot of damage. You can Psychic Fangs to lower the defense, or you can Trailblaze to increase your attack power to make those confusions really hit pretty hard. So if you need to win switch against, let's say they led to something like a Primeape, you kind of need to win switch against that, so you can kind of 2 shield through the next matchup with Girafarig. And then since Oranguru is very neutrally good against a lot of the cup, that can also give you some advantages as well. The core breakers here aren't... I actually think this might be one of the best teams, if I'm being very honest. Because the core breakers here are kind of like the neutral matchups, which I don't really count as too bad of a core breaker team. I mean, I put Licky Licky and Dunsparce here, but honestly, you can get through those if you want to. The question is, how many shields do you need for the entire team? Again, you probably want to be saving shields for Girafarig, but 1 shield on Oranguru is not that bad either. It gives you a lot of good matchups. All right, let's go into another spicy type team. We're going to have Drifblim in the lead with double fighters in the back. So we've kind of already talked about Drifblim and Primeape. Primeape is going to be your safe swap. But if you find a good matchup for Chestnut, Chestnut's going to be absolutely amazing here. Now, Chestnut also does learn Thunder Punch, but I think Frenzy Plant Superpower is going to be the way to go here. Superpower is just going to give you even more access to hit something like Dunsparce or Licky Licky, but Frenzy Plant hits very hard in those neutral matchups as well, so not too much to worry about. Also, something like Dunsparce is super hard countered by Chestnut here because it does resist everything it can do. So if you're seeing a lot of those neutral Dunsparce or Licky Licky leads, or in general, Chestnut's going to be the way to go. This team kind of countered by Dragonite, which we did talk about earlier, specifically the Shadow can just kind of burn through all 3 of these mon if it wanted to. One interesting mon that we haven't seen in a little bit, though, is Charjabug, and this team's actually really weak against Charjabug. So Something to note, X's are going to be, is it super effective? I think it is super effective against the Chestnut. And then it's decently fine into Primip as well, considering that it does resist Karate Chop and Close Combat. All right, the last team I'm going to go over here is going to be just, again, a triple normal team, which is going to basically be triple neutral against a lot of this cup. We talked about the first two mon here, Dunsparce and Oranguru, but let's talk a little bit about Miltank. So Miltank going to be another one of the rollout mons. You don't see it as much as Licky Licky and Dunsparce, but you see it from time to time in usually these limited cups. So I think you'll definitely see it. I think the moveset that will be used here is Body Slam Thunderbolt. It does have access to Ice Beam, which I could see it using as well. It's more of a question of, do you want to hit the waters for super effective, or do you want to hit something like Clodsire for super effective? You don't win that matchup because it does resist rock rollout, aka rock moves. And Ice Beam would also be super effective against something like Driftblim, which is double resisting Body Slam. I don't know. I think Thunderbolt's going to be the way to go, but if people are using Ice Beam, I could see that as well. But I prefer Thunderbolt, especially in like a zero shield scenario against like a Feraligatr. And then all three are normal types. They're going to be resisting, actually double resisting Shadow Claw from Feraligatr, except for Oranguru, which is going to be resisting it 1 times. Core Breakers, grass types. So specifically non-flying grass types, so not Jumpluff, which is going to be taking super effective from the rollouts, and the Rock Slide. Although the Ice Beam would be double super effective against Jumpluff, again, I could see you changing, but Thunderbolt, Ice Beam's fine. We'll go with that. Maybe it gives you more play against the grass types here. But these grass types are super fast to get to their moves, especially something like we've already talked about the Superior, but something like a Lurantis could be like a sleeper in this cup. It is very fast to get to its moves with Fury Cutter. Leaf Blade is obviously a very strong move. Superpower, very strong move as well. And that's going to be the 8 teams I have going out for, I was going to say Rollout Cup. It is Retro Cup, which is going to be the Great League variant. Also, Master League will be available. I won't go over a video on that. We do have tons of videos for best teams for Master League in this channel. Definitely check those out if you are wanting to play Master League. I might play some Master League. I do actually like Master League, but considering I don't have access to like Zygarde or Palkia Origin Form or Dialga Origin Form, I kind of feel weak in that cup. Those two the Origin Form mons are out right now in raids. You can't get Spatial Rend on the Palkia though, so I don't know. I'll raid. I've already raided on Saturday, I guess, which was no wait, it wasn't out Saturday. Maybe I raided yesterday, Monday. But yeah, definitely check out those raids. At least get the XLs for them if you are wanting to build one of those later whenever they allow Elite TMs, because I think even right now you can't Elite TM Spatial Rend onto Palkia. Anyways, that has nothing to do with this video. Hopefully these teams help you all out. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'll catch you in the next one. Hey, thank you for watching the video, and if you want to continue to support me, definitely click that subscribe button. You'll see any content coming out, and if you want another video on this same league for some more tips and tricks to other teams, check that video out right there, and I'll see you in the next one.